Check one. Check. Check.
Can I borrow you real quick? We're gonna get a picture with you and
Yes.
Rabbi Matalan and
Yes.
Rabbi Shmuley.
Okay.
So we're gonna do it right here in the back of the room real quick, and
Okay.
then
Sounds good.
so the live stream's already started,
Okay.
but it's not doing anything.
Okay. No.
Hi, friends. Welcome. If you're sitting somewhere near the back, we encourage you to move up a little. I know whenever you say that, nobody does it, but I need to say it anyways. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Tzion, Rabbi Micah, and your board and all your leadership for hosting us tonight, for your partnership. And we're doing something different tonight. When I reached out to Rabbi Roli, who, as you know, is a leading thought leader and rabbi, and I said, come teach some Torah. He said, I got a better idea. Let me bring my friend. We're going to make some music and teach Torah with our music. I said, it's a wonderful idea. Let's try that. Let's try that. So it's something new, and for over a decade, in concert settings, as well as the prayer services at Manhattan's BJ congregation in Manhattan, Rabbi Matalon and guitarist Don Nadel had been delving passionately and deeply into the heritage of Sephardic Jews, presenting traditional melodies and poetry while bringing the spirit of innovation and renewal in order to creatively reestablish the connection with modern-day sounds. Rabbi Roli Matalon, B'nai Jeshurun's senior rabbi, was born in Buenos Aires, Argentina, was educated in Buenos Aires, Montreal, Jerusalem, and New York City. After his ordination at the Jewish Theological Seminary in '86, Rabbi Matalon came to BJ to share the pulpit and vision of his mentor and friend, Rabbi Marshall Mayer. They worked together to revitalize the congregation and turn its focus to education, interfaith cooperation, and social justice. Don Nadel is an Israeli-born, New York-based guitarist and composer whose personal style combines flamenco, jazz, and Middle Eastern influences. He's a band leader, a solo performing artist, and a collaborator with Tavche Gravche, his multinational Neo-Balkan group. A busy musician on the New York scene, and has also been the music director of BJ for some years now. Some months now. Okay, some months now. It's an exciting night. If you know anyone who wants to be here who's not, you can tell them we're live streaming both on the Valley Beit Midrash Facebook page and on the Tzion Facebook page, and we have a podcast going. So there's lots of ways to connect tonight if they're not here. And with that, I think we have an exciting evening at play. So please join me in welcoming Rabbi Roli and Don Nadel. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Rav Shmuley. Excited to be here. Once again, we invite people to move closer because you're going to participate in a little bit, so we need you closer. Do you guys have the program? No? Can you check? Yeah. Okay.
That's great.
Perfect.
אל אדון על כל המעשים ברוך ומבורך בפי כל נשמה גודלו וטובו מה לעולם דעת ותבונה סובבים אותו המתקהל חיות הקודש ונדר בכבוד על המרכבה זה חוט ומישור לפני חיסור חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו טובים מאורות שברא אלוהינו יצרם בדעת בבינה ובהשכל כוח וגבורה נתן בהם להיות מושלים בקרב תבל מלאי נזיר ופיקים נוגה נעזיבה בכל העולם שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם עושים בהמה רצון קונם פאר וכבוד נותנים לשמור צלה ורינה לזכר מלכותו על השמש ויזרח אור רע והתקין צורת הלבנה שבח נותנים לו כל צבע מרור תפארת וגדולה שרפים ואופנים תפארת וגדולה שרפים ואופנים שרפים ואופנים לחיות הקודש.
Thank you. We believe some of you are familiar with this poem, Eladon al Kol HaMaasim. It's part of the liturgy of Shabbat morning, in the Shabbat morning service. And this is one of the oldest liturgical poems that exists. It's from the 3rd century. It's called Eladon. It's an acrostic, goes through the Jewish alphabet, the Hebrew alphabet. And it's one of the oldest. Now we sang it with a melody that is composed by a Armenian musician who was my teacher. His name is Tzion. It is very common to take liturgical poems and sing them to some known or pleasant, beautiful melody. It's been happening for hundreds of years that people take a liturgical poem, a prayer, and they set it to some melody that is borrowed sometimes, very often, from another culture, from another people, from another tradition. In this case, an Armenian melody. It comes from the Greek word poet. Okay, so it's the same basic word. Piyut is a liturgical poem. It's a poem that is used for devotional purposes, whether in the synagogue, or at home at the Shabbat table, or in celebration of a Jewish holiday, or at a Jewish wedding, or at the celebration of the birth of a child, or some other occasion. It's a devotional poem that expresses sometimes praise, gratitude, blessing of God, sometimes blessing of the bride or the groom. We're going to take you through a journey because the story of the Piyutim, although there are some ancient ones, this journey actually begins in force in Spain in the 10th century. There was a young man who was born in Fez in Morocco in the year 920. He went all the way to Baghdad, which was at the time the center of the Muslim world. It was a capital that was of stunning beauty and of scholarship and the arts, and everything was based in Baghdad. And also the center of the Jewish world was in Baghdad. There was a great scholar by the name of Saadia Gaon who lived there. He was a legal scholar. He was a Torah commentator, a philosopher. And this young man, Dunash ben Labrat, moved from Fez to Baghdad to study with his great teacher. And then later on, he moved back west, and he ended up in Cordoba. Cordoba at the time, in the 10th century, was a great place to be. there been a succession of kings, all named Abdel Rahman, the first, the second, and the third. Many of you have been to Cordoba. You've seen the cathedral of Cordoba that used to be a mosque. It's spectacular. So in Cordoba, these kings, Abdel Rahman, particularly the Abdel Rahman III, encouraged exchange between cultures, between Jews and Muslims and Christians. He encouraged the development of the arts, the writing of poetry, of music. He fostered development of technology. There was a great architecture. They produced fine fabrics, linens and cottons in that place that were exported throughout the Mediterranean. He also had an army, a powerful army that conquered many of the surrounding places and where the culture of Spain, of Andalusia in Spain, spread. And so this young man, Dunash, who had gone from Fez to Baghdad and had got back to Cordoba, now finds himself in Spain. And he learns the poetry of the Arabs. And he realizes that the poetry of the Arabs, the poetics, the Arab poetics, are on a much higher level than Hebrew poetics at the time. And he starts to imitate the style. He learns their style very well, and he starts to reproduce in Hebrew some of the elements of Arabic poetry, and he had great success. He had also many opponents. People who were very conservative, who didn't want to change Hebrew poetry, but he had tremendous success, and he was known mostly for a poem called the Rorika, which is one of the Shabbat songs at the Shabbat table. So we're going to sing for you this poem, the Rorika, using a very famous old Arab melody called Lama Bada. No problem, we'll start again. I can be singing this all day long, so it's not a problem.
דרו יקרא לבן נמבט וינצורכם כמו מבט נעים שמכם ולא יושפט שבו נוחו ביום שבת שבו נוחו ביום שבת דרוש נביא ועולמי באות ישעשה עמי נטע שורק בתוך כרמי שעשה ועד בני עמי שעשה ועד בני עמי אלוהים תן במדבר הר, ההדר ששיטה בראש תדהר, ולמזהיר ולנזהר, שלא נמתר כמי נהר, ולמזהיר ולנזהר, שלא נמתן כמי נהר. דעי חוכמה לנפשך, והיא כתר לראשך, נצור מצוות אלוהיך, שמור שבת קודשך, שמור שבת קודשך. So this was Dunash ben Labrat, who lived in the 10th century, and who had gone from Morocco to Baghdad and back to Spain and Cordoba. And he established a new modality for Hebrew poetry that really became very successful. 100 years after his birth came one of the greatest Hebrew poets of all time. He was for sure the first, or among the first, of the poets of that time, the so-called golden age of Spain. His name is Rabbi Shlomo ibn Gabirol. He was very prolific, very prolific. He wrote both, and this is what happened in that time in Cordoba. There were people who, up to now, had been writing only religious poetry, and there were people who, here and there, they tried their hand at some non-religious poetry. But what he started was the mixing. He wrote poetry that was both about friendship, about love, about women, about wine, about nature, and also very deep poetry about religious themes, about the quest of the individual for God, for meaning, about the questions that people had about God, about evil, about all sorts of things, about suffering, about he expressed his existential anguish. He expressed sometimes his awe, his praise. He has a vast range of poems, both on secular subjects and on religious subjects. And many of his poems actually made it into the liturgical, into the devotional collection of poems that we have. We're going to sing 3 poems by Rabbi Shlomo ibn Gabirol. The first one is called Sha'ar Asher Nisgar. He was at a young age, so you know a little bit about his life. At a young age, he lost his father. And he had a supporter, somebody who, what was the name? Patron. A patron, right? He had a patron who supported him and who enabled him to write his poetry and to disseminate his work. His patron at some point got in trouble and he ended up in jail. So Shlomo ibn Gabirol was left without a father. He was an orphan, without a patron. And on top of that, there was a time when, after the time of Abdel Rahman III, there was an invasion of Muslim Berbers who had come from North Africa, who were rather intolerant. And they persecuted Muslims who had been there before, who were more open, more tolerant, who were open to collaboration. They persecuted Jews and also Christians. And so people were on the run. And Shlomo ibn Gabirol, as a Jew, was on the run. So he had to move from place to place. And he got to certain places which were under Christian domination. Sometimes Christians didn't like Jews in those days either. And so he had to move. And his life was spent moving from place to place. And yet, he always had the inspiration, he always found the inspiration to write these amazing, really deep, beautiful, really beautiful poems. And we're going to sing 3 of his poems. Shara Asher Nisgar is a poem that asks God to open all the gates that are shut and to ultimately allow all the good things to come in, love and blessing, and ultimately to open the door for the Redeemer, for the Mashiach, to come to the world. It's called Shara Asher Nisgar. שער אשר נסגר, קומה פתחהו, וצבי אשר ברח אלי שלחהו. שער אשר נסגר, קומה פתחהו, וצבי אשר ברח אלי שלחהו. ליום בוא אחריי, ללין בבן שעתי, שם ריחך הטוב עלי תניחהו. שער אשר נסגר, קומה פתחהו, וצבי אשר ברח אלי שלחהו. מה זה דמות דודה, קלה יפהפייה, כי תאמרי אליי, שלחה וקחהו. שער אשר נסגר, קומה פתחהו, וצבי אשר ברח אלי שלחהו. ההוא יפה עין, אדום וטוב רואי, רעי ודודי זה, קומה משחהו. שער אשר נסגר, קומה פתחהו, וצבי אשר ברח אלי שלחהו. This is a melody, a famous melody from Morocco. It's a very popular melody. So as I said before, it's very common to take these old poems. This poem that we sang is 1,000 years old. It's still being sung. 1,000 years old. And to match them with melodies that work for different communities. So different communities take different melodies. Moroccan Jews who want to sing this poem will take a Moroccan melody. Turkish Jews will take a Turkish melody. Greek Jews will take a Greek melody, and so on and so forth. These poems are mostly restricted to the Sephardic and Mizrahi, Oriental Jews. In other words, from Morocco through North Africa to the Middle East, to Turkey, to Greece, sometimes to the Balkans, and then moving on to Kurdistan and Iraq and also in Iran. This is the world, and also to Afghanistan. There was a Jewish community in Afghanistan, and they have a very rich musical tradition also in India. So that's where some of these, or most of these poems actually spread. We will show you some poems later on that also became very famous in the Ashkenazic world. In other words, they were composed in the Middle East, but they became known, appreciated, and beloved, some of them, in the larger Jewish world, including in Europe, Western and Eastern Europe. Next poem is called Shachar Avakeshcha. It's also of Rabbi Shlomo ben Gabirol, who, by the way, was not only a very accomplished poet, he was also a philosopher. He wrote a philosophical treatise called Fons Vitae, Mekor Chaim, the source of life. And for a long time, people didn't really know who had written it. He had written it, it was attributed to somebody called Avicenna. And later on was discovered that it was actually Rabbi Shlomo ben Gabirol who had written this philosophical book. He was a proponent of Neoplatonic ideas. This poem that we're going to perform now is called Shachar Avakeshcha. It was written most likely as an introduction, for those of you who are familiar with the Shabbat morning service, an introduction to the prayer Nishmat Kol Chai. It ends in the words Nishmat Eloha Bi. It's an introduction. It just moves into Nishmat Kol Chai. So Shachar Avakeshcha. The melody that we're using is a melody of the Jews of Turkey who used to sing, in Greece, who used to sing a poem with this melody in Ladino. Avakeshcha tzuri umisgabi eroch lefanecha shachri vegam arbi lifnei gedolatecha אמון ואתפעל כי אינך תראה כל מחשבות ליבי שיוכל הלב והלשון לעשות ומכוח רוחי בתוך הקרבי הנה לך תיטב זמרת אנוש על כן עודך בעוד תהיה נשמת אלוה בי. Now we're going to make you work a little bit. We're going to sing a third poem by Rabbi Shlomo ben Gabirol, who actually continued and unfolded the the methodology or the system or the poetics that Dunash Ibn Labrat had started imitating the Arabic style. He actually brought it to a new height, and many of the poets that came after him continued the style of Rabbi Shlomo ibn Gabirol. So we're going to perform a poem called Kol Beru'e Mala Umata. It is a poem about oneness. He says, all the creatures of heaven and earth, together as one, bear witness in saying, Adonai is one and God's name is one. We live in the illusion that everything is separate, that we're all separate. We live separate individuals, distinct and separate communities, separate nations, separate peoples. Everything is separate. But he says, in reality, separate heaven from earth, water from land. He says, in reality, it's all an illusion. We're all one. We all emanate from the same source. We all emanate from God. We come from the one, and therefore we are one, in spite of the fact that we might perceive ourselves as separate. We're all connected, and we're part of the one. How the world might be different if we all lived that reality instead of living the illusion that we're separate. How might the world, our country, our communities, nations be different if we all understood? How would we relate differently to nature, to the environment? How would we relate different to heaven if we understood what Rabbi Shlomo ibn Gabirol is trying to convey in this poem? Every creature comes from the one and therefore is united as one. We're going to teach you a refrain, and we're going to, maybe you should tell where the melody comes from.
This is a melody from, this mic is on, right?
Yes.
The melody from Turkey. There's a very interesting woman living in Israel. She's a musicologist, an ethnomusicologist. Her name is Hadass Pal Yarden. She went to study in Turkey for about 10 years. She was very interested in music from there. Turkey has an extremely, for those who don't know, extremely rich and vast musical traditions, what they call classical Turkish music, and also many folk musics of the Roma community who live there, and others. It's sort of a bridge between East and West, and so became extremely rich culturally. So she was living in Istanbul for about 10 years. Also got to meet some of the elders of the Jewish community there, and was inquiring with them about sources of their melodies and trying to learn some of their melodies, because as in every culture, actually there's Jews who were musicians, and some of the best musicians, and so they would bring this music into the synagogue, and of course a gateway into ancient melodies is often going through houses of worship, and that way kind of investigating what caused what, you know, what we hear today, and then you find something that you can clearly tell that's the root of what you hear, and then you can go further back sometimes. So she met an elder of the a Jewish community in Istanbul, and he chanted this poem that we're about to sing for you, and she thought it was very, very beautiful, and asked if she could record it so she could learn it later, and he said no, because I've sinned a lot in my life, and I know that there's always a chance that this poem will be, like your recording will be played electrically on a Shabbat or something, so I don't want to take that risk. And she said, but I really want to learn the poem. So she said, well, I'll gladly teach you the poem. So she started meeting with him regularly. Like, she learned that song, and then many other ancient melodies of the Jewish community there. And in fact, this whole relationship triggered something in this person that caused him to remember melodies from his childhood. And he would call her up like at midnight and say, Hadass, like, I just remembered something. You have to come over. I'm going to teach you another melody. So eventually, when she moved back to Israel, she recorded this song. And it was on her album, and there's some YouTube versions of it. And it's gotten tens of thousands of hits on YouTube. And the song is now chanted in her community in Jerusalem to this melody. But then we chant it at Bnei Jeshurun. I've taught it in several other communities in the New York area, and I'm sure that there are others around the world. So at this point, there's probably thousands of people chanting this melody that was about to go extinct because this elder Jewish gentleman told her there's only 4 or 5 living people who know this melody at this point. So now it's actively being used and nourished by thousands of people, and it's meaningful in their lives. And now you're going to learn it. So.
Now the melody comes to Phoenix. So if you have the sheet that has the program, you'll see in the middle of the page that it says the words Ye'idun. The poem is called Kol Beruei. Refrain: Ye'idun, Yagidun, Kulam Ke'echad, Adonai Echad, Ushmo Echad. So we'll teach it to you. It's very simple. I'll sing it for you once, and then we'll break it into pieces, okay? Ye'idun, Yagidun, Kulam Ke'echad, Adonai Echad, Ushemo Echad. Okay. Listen and repeat after me. Ye'idun, Ye'idu, Ye'idun. Very good. Ye'idun, Yagidun. Now let's put together. Ye'idun, Yagidun. Kulam ke'echad, Ye'idun, Yagidun, Kulam ke'echad, Ye'idun, Yagidun, Kulam ke'echad. And then you have to add Ke'echad, Ye'idun, Yagidun, Kulam Ke'echad, Adonai Echad, Adonai Echad. One more time. Adonai Echad, Ushemo Echad, Ushemo Echad. Together. Ye'idun, Yagidun, Kulam Ke'echad, Adonai Echad, Ushemo Echad. Okay? So I will let you know when you'll join with a refrain. Remember, we're all one. However, one. We'll sing as one. Kol berui ma'ala umata ye'idun yagidu kulam ke'echad Adonai echad ושמו אחד 32 נתיבות שבילך לכל מבין סודם יספרו גודלך מהם יכירון כי הכל שלך ואתה האל המלך המיוחד יעידון יגידון כולם כאחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לבבות בחושבם עולם בנוי, ימצאו כל יש צחה שנוי, במספר במשקל הכל מנוי, כולם ניתנו מרועה אחד, יעידון יגידון כולם כאחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. מראש ועד סוף יש לך סימן, צפון וים וקדם ותימן, שחק ותבל לך עת נאמן, מזה אחד ומזה אחד, יעידון יגידון כולם כאחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, הכל ממך נזבד זבוד, אתה תעמוד והם יאבדו עבוד, לכן כל יצור לך ייתן כבוד, כי מראש ועד סוף הלא אב אחד, יעידון יגידון כולם כאחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, ובתורתך אדוני אלוהינו כתוב לאמור, שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. You like it? We're moving now to the next of the great poets of Spain. There were quite a few: Moshe ben Ezra, Rabbi Yehuda Levi, Rabbi Shlomo ben Gabirol, whom we already mentioned. The next one we're going to sing is Rabbi Avraham ibn Ezra. Rabbi Avraham ibn Ezra was also a Torah commentator, a biblical scholar, a Hebrew grammarian. He was an astronomer. He was a mathematician. There is a crater in the moon named after him. It's called Aben Ezra because he was into astronomy. He was very accomplished. And because of the persecutions, he was born actually in Spain. And then he had to leave Spain. He moved to Italy. He lived in the Jewish community in Italy. And there he brought the style of the Hebrew poetry of Spain and many of the ideas that had been generated in Spain, not just in poetry, but also in scholarship, in Torah and learning of Torah. He brought it to Italy. And then from there he went to France. And from France he went to England, and he died actually in England in the year 1167. He was very prolific. His Torah commentaries, studied until this day, and many of his poems are sung. We're going to perform for you a poem called Agadelcha, which is actually an introduction to the recitation of the Kaddish. And it expresses the sense of tremendous awe that a person has when he or she realizes the vastness of the Creator. One stands as small in awe and reverence and fear in front of the vastness of the universe and the vastness of the creation, of the Creator. And this is what this poem, Agadelcha, expresses. And then ends with Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemeh Rabbah. May God's name be made great and holy. It's a melody that was composed in Israel a couple of decades ago by a musician named Mordechai Chalfon. Agadelcha Elohei kol neshama ועודך ברוב פחד ואימה אגדלך אלוהי כל נשמה ועודך ברוב פחד ואימה בעומדי תוך קהל חצור לרומם לך אכרע ואכוף ראש וקומה לך אכרע ואכוף ראש וקומה רקיערו הלא נטע במידתם רקיערו הלא נטע במידתם והארץ יסדה על בלימה והארץ יסדה על בלימה היוכל איש חקור את סוד יוצרו ומי הוא זה בכל קטמה וימה היוכל איש חקור את סוד יוצרו ומי הוא זה בכל קטמה וימה מרומם הוא עלי כל פה ולשון אשר הפליא ועשה כל בחוכמה אשר הפליא ועשה כל בחוכמה ויתגדל בגוי קדוש ועליון ויתגדל בגוי קדוש ועליון ויתקדש שמרבה בעלמה ויתקדש שמרבה בעלמה. We're now moving from Spain and from the adjacent countries to the land of Israel, which knew a resurgence of poetry with the emergence of a group of mystics that lived in Tzfat. There were a number of mystics, Rabbi Moshe Cordovero, Rabbi Yitzhak Luria, who lived in Tzfat and produced the next stage of Jewish mysticism that had started with the Zohar in Spain. And in that group of people, there were a number of them who were poets, prolific, wonderful poets. Among them, Israel Najara. You know some of the poems because the Chadodi is one of the poems that was created in Tzfat by another poet, Rabbi Shlomo Alevi Alkabetz, who was also a mystic. And Rabbi Israel Najara was the most prolific of them all. He lived from 1555 to 1628. He lived in Tzfat. He was also in Damascus. And then he became the rabbi of Gaza. There was a Jewish community then in Gaza. And Rabbi Israel Najara used to love to go out and hang out with people, both Arabs and Jews who lived in Gaza. And he used to go out and hang out with them in the taverns and the bars. He would drink with them and speak with them and sing with them. And he loved the melodies, many of the Arabic melodies that were sung in those days in that place. And his fellow Jews also loved those melodies and they sang them. So he decided to create poems that would in many ways imitate the sound of the Arabic words of those songs, and that would also work with those same melodies. So he created a great number of poems, many, many devotional poems that are incredible. He collected them in a book, in a collection of poems called Zemirot Israel, the Songs of Israel. His name is Israel. And we're going to perform for you a couple of his poems, actually 3 of them, beginning with one that is called Ana Elech. Ana Elech is based on a psalm. The psalmist in Psalm 139 asks, "Where can I go from your spirit, and where from before you can I flee?" Says the psalm. And Rabbi Israel Najara answers, or asks the same question, and he answers. He says, "Where will I go from your spirit, and where from your presence can I flee?" And he answers, "I will flee from you to you, and I will spring forth in the shadow of your hand." In other words, I will flee from you to you. I can never flee from you, really. I try to go away from you, he says to God, and I can never go away from you because everywhere I go, there you are. So it's a very beautiful poem, Ana Elech. The melody is an Iraqi melody, which has some Sufi influences. And in that place, Sufi Islam, in that area of Kurdistan and Turkey and Syria and Iraq and Iran, the Sufi presence was very strong. Also in North Africa, but they influenced very deeply the music of all those peoples who live in that area. Ana Elech. Ana elech meruchecha, ana necha evrach mimecha elecha, ufsel yadcha agil efrach. יעכב אותך עולם מלא, אתה האל אוסף אלה, אם לשמיים אעלה, שם אמצעו לך יזרח, שחר לא יהיה חלקה לך, וארץ לא תכי לך, מי ימלל רב גודלך, לו פיו קיים בכל יצרח. רקי ערום מכיסך בארץ דום רגלך, גדול שמך ואין לך צפון וים, מערב מזרח אשק שמים שמורך, עצי אשר כל הנך, אחרית ים גם שם ידך תיקחני בלי תורה, לכן אין לי מנוס בלתה, ובחמלתה אבוא ביתה, ואקח מה כן תורתך, תורני דרך ואורה, אנא אלך מרוחך, אנא מפניך אברח ממך אליך, ואצל ידך
We're incorporating some elements there that don't come directly from the Arab world. This is a flamenco rhythm called siguerillas. It's interesting. It was always interesting for me to think of what would have happened musically if Jews and Muslims had stayed in southern Spain. I mean, some did, converted, some did in hiding, and et cetera, et cetera. And but these cultures are interrelated. The culture of music culture of gitanos, of gypsies who lived in southern Spain and developed flamenco in the last 200 years. And they give tribute to the Jews and Muslim music. They talk about the heritage of the Jews and the Muslims that was left in Spain as the source, some of the source that went into the soup of flamenco. It's part of the ingredients. And they sing in some of the poetry in flamenco is directly lifted from old Ladino songs. Some of it sings about, you know, the poor. I'm as poor as a lonely Jew on the street, etc. Even though there were no Jews officially there, like this ghost existed. And the musical cultures are still very, very connected. They're different, but they're very connected. And so, what's been interesting for me in this project and others with similar music is to take elements of flamenco, try to remarry them to these melodies, which don't come from Spain, but have been influenced. You know, over the years, there's been this back and forth, this symbiosis. So that's part of what you're hearing tonight.
We're now moving to another poem by the same poet, Rabbi Israel Najara, again from the land of Israel, end of 16th, beginning of 17th century. Ya'ala Ya'ala is a poem that he wrote with some of the themes of the Song of Songs of Shir HaShirim, and it's a dialogue. The poem is written as a dialogue between the lover and the beloved, could be human beings, but devotionally is the dialogue between God and the Jewish people. And it's called Ya'ala Ya'ala. It's the graceful doe who comes to the garden. My doe, come to my garden. The pomegranates are in bloom, and my vines have flowered. It's an invitation to come to the garden, to encounter the lovers who have been separated, who have been exiled from each other. So it's each stanza is one of the couple that speaks. יאללה יאללה בואי לגני אין את רימון גם פרחה גפני יאללה 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 בואי לגני אין את רימון גם פרחה גפני יעבוד אותי יחיס עדיו ויאכל את פרי מרדיו עם ידידי ונדודה איך יחידה אשב על קני יאללה יאללה בואי לבני אין את סימון כפרחה גפני יאללה 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 בואי לגני אין את סימון כפרחה גפני יאללה 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 בואי לגני אין את סימון כפרחה גפני אליי את בת אהובה שובי את אני אשובה הנה עימי זאת עוד כתובה כי בתוכך אתן משכני יאללה יאללה בואי לגני אין את סימון גם פרחה גפני יאללה 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 בואי לגני אין את סימון גם פרחה גפני יאללה יאללה בואי לגני אין את סימון גם פרחה גפני לטוב זריתיך ולתהילה ולטוב שריתיך כי אהבת עולם אהבתיך על כן אושיבך על דוכני יאללה יאללה בואי לגני אין את רימון פרחה גפני יאללה 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 בואי לגני אין את רימון גם פרחה גפני יאללה יאללה בואי לגני אין את רימון גם פרחה גפני חזקי ריה חיכך קיינתו כי ציצי שחך רענן ורטוב ולצרייך אכרות ואכתוב וחיש אשלח לך את סגני יאללה יאללה בואי לגני אין את רימון גם פרחה גפני יאללה 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 בואי לרני אין את רימון גם פרחה גפני יאללה 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 בואי לרני אין את רימון גם פרחה גפני. We're going to teach you now a refrain of a piyut, a poem, a liturgical poem that many of you know. It's from the Shabbat table. It's called Ya Ribon Alam. Anybody knows that poem? Ya Ribon Alam ve'alema ve'alemaya. Okay, and there are a couple of other melodies. This is a poem of the same poet, Rabbi Israel Najara, that actually spread throughout the Jewish world. All over, people started singing this song, Ya Ribon Alam. It's a song about the sovereignty of God over all creatures, over everything that is. And we're going to sing it with an Iraqi melody. And we're going to teach you the refrain. It's a song of redemption also. Many of his songs are songs of redemption. This is a time when the Jewish people are living in exile. And many of these poets are sensitive, all of them, the poets of Spain and the poets of Eretz Israel, at the time are sensitive to the fact that the Jewish people are vulnerable in exile, and they're always anticipating and calling for the redemption, for the end of the exile. Not just the physical exile, not just for people to be reunited in their land, to be at peace and safe, but also the spiritual exile. One can be at home and still be in exile. A real being at home means real being at home with oneself, with one another, and with God. And so all these poems are poems of exile and redemption, and they're aspirational, they have vision. That's why these poems have been sung for over 1,000 years, because they are deep, because they inspire, because they touch people. Even if people don't get into analyzing this poem in the depth, there's always something that touches us and that inspires us and that keeps us going in difficult times, whether it's in our personal lives, at times of darkness, or exile or separation in our own personal lives, when we feel we're cut off from meaning, from one another, from our loved ones, when we experience loss, or when we have periods of national difficulty as Jews or as nations. And so these poems are there to lift our spirits, to inspire us, to give us renewed vision and a sense of possibility. Ya Ribon Olam will teach you. I could speak for hours, so we'll teach you the refrain. I'll sing it for you, and then we'll teach it to you. Ya Ribon Alam ve'alemaya antu malka melech malchaya antu malka melech malchaya. You have it in the page, in the back of the page. Ya Ribon, do that. Ya Ribon, just that. Ya Ribon Alam Alam again. Alam Ya Ribon Ve'alemaya Ve'alemaya Ve'alemaya. We can stop on the Ve. Ve'alemaya Hantu Malka. It's the same. Hantu Malka Hantu Malka Melech Malchaya Melech Malchaya. Let's start from the beginning. Ya Ribon Alam Ve'alemaya Antu הוא מלכה, מלך מלכיה. אנט הוא מלכה, מלך מלכיה. יא ריבון העולם בעלמיה, אנטו מלכה, מלך מלכיה. אנטו מלכה, מלך מלכיה. עובדי גבורתך ותים היה, שפרקו דמה לאחוויה. שבחין אסר ספרה ורמשה, לכן קדישה דיברה כל נפשה. עירין קדישין ובני אנשה, הם בדבר ואופי שמיה. יא ריבון עולם בעלמיה, אנטו מלכה, מלך מלכה. אנטו מלכה, מלך מלכיה. רברבין עובדך ותחריפים, מחך חרם היה וזקף כפיפין. לו יחיה כבר שנים אלפים, ליעול גבורתה בחוש בניה. יא ריבון עולם בעלמיה, אנטו מלכה, מלך מלכיה. אנטו מלכה, מלך. למקדשך טוב, למקדשך טוב, למקדשך טוב, קודש קודשים. למקדשך טוב, למקדשך טוב, קודש קודשים. נתן לי ויחדו רוחי, רוחי ונפשי. יזמרו לך שירים ונחשים, בירושלים קרתה, קרתה בשופריה. יא ריבון עולם בעלמיה, אנטו מלכה, מלך מלכיה. אנטו מלכה, מלך מלכיה. יא ריבון עולם בעלמיה, אנטו מלכה, מלך מלכיה. אנטו מלך. Beautiful. We're going to bring you back now to Morocco. We have a couple more piyutim to sing. We are going to go back to Morocco. A poem called Ende Bair Hasdei. It says, there's nobody really who can figure out your mercy and your compassion. It's a poem that belongs to, see, Jews who lived in the lands of Islam, who sang these poems and many other poems, had collections which they sometimes sang at night. The practice still exists. It's called bakashot. It's petitional prayers. And they are about these poems, about the exile and ending the exile, and asking God to bring about the redemption. They're sung in the winter months at night from Friday to Saturday morning. There's certain places in Israel, in Jerusalem in particular, where you can still go at 3 o'clock on a Friday night to Shabbat morning, 3 o'clock a.m. when it's dark, which symbolizes the darkness of the exile. And people gather to sing these poems in the traditional melodies of those communities. Most of the melodies actually, or a bulk of the melodies, originated in the community, the Jewish community of Aleppo, which is where my family comes from, which now lies in ruins, unfortunately. But it had a very, very rich tradition of learning Torah and of poetry and also of music. Aleppo is right in the area next to Turkey. People came from Greece and the Balkans. It's next to Kurdistan. It was a place of passage. It was on the Silk Road, going from east to west. And therefore, it received many influences. Those influences now live in Jerusalem. If you go at 3 o'clock in the winter months at synagogue on a Friday night, you'll find communities that sing many of these poems until dawn, when the sun rises, which is symbolic of what they're singing. It's about the waiting for the dawn, the waiting for redemption, the waiting for light in the middle of the darkness. We don't just sleep, we sing, we pray, we praise. We are together in community. It's a fantastic experience of 4 hours of chanting and singing. The Moroccan communities have their own collection of poems which change from week to week. They are actually around each Torah portion of the week has its own collection of poems that are sang on that particular Shabbat and no more. That week and then no more. So we are going to perform a poem called Ende Bair Hasdei of the collection of bakashot, of petitionary prayers from Morocco. Ende Bair Hasdei Adonai Ozi Ende Bair Hasdei Adonai Ozi Uma Ozi Umenusi Menat Helki Vechosi Uma Ozi Umenusi Menat Helki Vechosi Ahale לך אל, אהלל לך יום והלל, חנון נאמן, רחמן בכל זמן, לדור ודור הודיע אמונתך, לדור ודור הודיע אמונתך, וחסדך עמדי אל מגן בעדי, וחסדך עמדי אל מגן בעדי, אהלל לך אל, אהלל חיום והלל חנון נאמן רחמן בכל זמן חיים באורך נראה אור כי יהל חיים באורך נראה אור כי יהל האירה פניך לכל ישראל האירה פניך לכל ישראל אהלל לך אל אהלל חיום והלל חנון נאמן רחמן בכל זמן חזק מאוד ראה בדוחק השעה חזק מאוד ראה בדוחק השעה ושלח משם רועה מסמיח ישועה ושלח משם רועה מסמיח ישועה אהלל לך אל אהלל חיום והלל חנון נאמן רחמן בכל זמן Okay, we skipped one of the poems in the program by Rabbi Israel Najara, actually by Rabbi Elazar Askari, which is before Rabbi Israel Najara. He's part of the same group. It's called Yedid Nefesh. He wrote this poem also. It made it to all the communities in the Jewish diaspora. A very beloved poem, sang by the Ashkenazic communities as Kabbalat Shabbat, the service of Kabbalat Shabbat on Friday evening begins. The Sephardic communities sing it on Shabbat at night. In the Bakashot, they sing it on Shabbat afternoon also. They sing it at the table. And some people sing it actually in the morning, on weekdays as they prepare to pray in the morning. It's one of the preparatory poems for prayer. Yedid Nefesh Avar Rahaman. And we're going to sing it with a Moroccan melody. ידיד נפש אבהה רחמן משוך עבדך אל רצונה ירוץ עבדך כמו הים ישתחווה מול הדרה יער אבל ידידותך מנוף וצוף וכל טעם יללה הדור נאה זיו העולם יללה נפשי חולה אהבתה ענה אלנה רפן עליו בהרות לה נועם זיווח היד נועם זיווח אז תתחזק ותתרפא והייתה לך שחר עולם היה לה הללה הללה. So this is the time when we finish the presentation, the concert. We go out, you clap, we come back,
Hopefully.
and then we do another one. But hopefully. But there's no place where to go. So we'll stay and we'll do now one more. It's called...
This is Rabbi Jose Rolando Matalon,
Rabbi-
Bnei Jeshurun, New York.
and Dan Nadel. He's the music director of Bnei Jeshurun. We have been working for many years together, developing this material and learning together, studying and thinking and playing. And it's really been a great privilege to work with Dan all these years. And he's now the music director of our congregation in New York, which has lifted our music really to a new height. So we're going to teach you this poem, El Eliyahu. You have the words. It's a poem that is sung in the Sephardic and Mizrahi communities after Havdalah on Shabbat. When Shabbat has ended, we are asking God to send us Eliyahu to make this week the week in which redemption finally comes. El Eliyahu, B'zchut Eliyahu, for the sake of Eliyahu and through his merit, bring redemption to the world. We sing in the Ashkenazi community, we sing Eliyahu Hanavi. They sing El Eliyahu, and this is how it goes. This is a Iraqi melody. It's really a Kurdish melody that goes like this. El Eliyahu, El Eliyahu, B'zchut Eliyahu, Hanavi Avena. That's all you have to know. So I'll start. El Eliyahu, repeat. El Eliyahu, El Eliyahu. El Eliyahu. From the top. El Eliyahu, El Eliyahu. Just that. El Eliyahu, El Eliyahu. B'zchut Eliyahu, B'zchut Eliyahu. Hanavi Havena, Hanavi Havena. You can do or Hanavi Avena, Hanavi Avena, or Hanavi Avena. It's a harmony, you can do it sometimes. So, El Eliyahu, El Eliyahu, B'zchut Eliyahu, Hanavi Avena, El Eliyahu, El Eliyahu, B'zchut Eliyahu. Hanavi Avena, bor tomrich bona, בשבי קיבו, לא שכב ליבו, גם לא ראה שינה. אל אליהו, אל אליהו, בזכות אליהו, הנביא אבנה, אל אליהו. You can clap too. בזכות אליהו הנביא הבנה רב מחלי בירות וקשי ומסנות יפות ובריות בשר ותרענה אל אליהו בזכות אליהו הנביא הבנה אל אליהו בזכות אליהו הנביא הבנה השקט סורמי ראש צרעי נביא לקדוש יום עיני לקדוש ישראל תשענה אל אליהו בזכות אליהו הנביא הבנה אל אליהו בזכות אליהו הנביא הבנה מתי תראה אות ישאל קורות לך ולכנוסות כל הנבטרונה אל אליהו בזכות אליהו הנביא הבנה אל אליהו בזכות אליהו הנביא הבנה המלאך הגואל לפני דם שואל אנא האל אברהם הקרינה אל אליהו בזכות הנביא הבנה אליהו בזכות אליהו הנביא הבנה אליהו בזכות אליהו הנביא הבנה אליהו בזכות אליהו הנביא הבנה. Thank you so much. Thank you Rav Shmuley for hosting us. To Valley Bet Midrash, to all of you, thank you so much.
Wow, that was wonderful. Thank you so much. We're so used to thinking of our beautiful... We're so used to thinking of Jewish music as Polish melodies, Hungarian melodies, klezmer, Shlomo Carlebach, Debbie Friedman, all what beautiful stuff. And I think you've exposed us to something very rich, something very deep, which is also a deep part of who we are and what we can continue to explore. So thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Or Tzion, for hosting. Thank you all for joining. They'll be here for a few moments if you'd like to still grab a few words with them. Otherwise, we'll see you at a few more programs before the end of the year. Yes? Let's have people approach. Let's have people approach. Yeah, that's okay. Thank you so much. Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my God, look, come on. I remember. Oh, I remember very, very well, and I remember you. Yeah. Oh my God. Wow, yes. Oh my God, yes, they were regulars. I was very fond of them. Singing? Yes. They lived in West End, no? Yeah, on the corner, yeah. I remember them very, very well. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much. You brought their memory back. Lovely, lovely people. They were great supporters. Thank you.
Yeah, yesterday we did this program somewhere else and people asked, oh, can you do something?
I will. Thank you.
No, this is it. The congregation, just on the Upper West Side, on 88th Street.
Wow.
Hi, great to see you. Yes. Thank you.
Very, very come all the time. You were in the New York Foundation for the Arts.
No, I was actually.
Yeah, please, and you can connect with us like on Facebook if you want.
They are very dear.
No,
They
That's
they
the
guide
way
are.
us
to
all
find me.
along the way.
I
And then
know,
I'll
but I used
show you
to
the
come
page
here
that we
because
use.
my daughter
You know
was
what I really like about this site is
What's your name?
Pepper.
Okay, I'm going to say hello to them because
Right.
I'm going to see them on Shabbat and then on Sunday we'll do the Natchez home.
this is what
We have an event there.
Oh, really? Trying out?
Yeah, we have a birthday of a member.
Rabbi Berman.
Yeah. Completely agree, Irvin. So nice to meet you.
I still do pencil.
Would you? Are you on Facebook? Or should I give you my email and we'll connect that way? What's better? Email. So my email is my last name. I'll give you. I'll bring it
Right on here.
For a while.
They say it goes back 68 years.
That's beautiful.
We traced our family to 1480 in Avila,
Wow.
and then to the Ottoman Empire.
Wow.
Yeah, the music speaks to me. Very good.
Wonderful. Nade. Yeah. Great to meet you.
Very nice to meet you. Beautiful.
Thank
flower.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I was wondering, with all of your, jazz playing and stuff, if I heard the original, would it just be such a simple tune?
Well, no, because you would hear, if you hear oud and nay, like Arabic instruments with the quarter-tone, that brings a different depth.
But you were at it.
I'm adding different things to compensate for the. Oh yeah, harmony-wise, yeah. I'm doing what I can to give it interest because if I played it like Arabic musician on a guitar, it would be very, very bland. That's the nature of those instruments. They have their own depth because they're quarter-tone.
But your arrangements are terrific.
Thank you very. Thank you. You guys, like. Yeah, just. Oh,
We got our reunion.
Did he like?
So, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well,
Not
give
a
my
couple of-
best to Ari.
I will. Wonderful, and we'll be in touch. I'll email you.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you. Great to meet you. Thank you. No, 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 no. No.
I stick in because we were running out of time. Yeah. It's a great song,
No, I
but
just
we
mean
realized we're just like running out of time, and it's a song that is difficult to do with only one singer because it's very happy and it requires a lot of participation, and we thought it doesn't get us as great exposure. Next time.
All right.
Thank you.
Anyway, it was great. I loved it. Thank you.
I'll meet you in
How long are you here?
we're here. He's leaving tomorrow early afternoon. I'm here for one more day. John's birthday, so I wanted to stay one more day.
Remember me.
I will. Thank you. Hi.
I don't know if you remember me. I'm Terry's aunt. Ellen.
How are you doing?
It was wonderful to hear you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being here.
Love the music, and I love the flamenco stand.
Thank you. Thank you. That's what I'm doing with my life, so I hope so. Thank
I'm
you.
sure you're doing more than that.
Music. Yeah, but I do no, not just this, but I play guitar. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Yes, I really enjoyed it.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
I definitely will.